Chapter 10, Part 1. The mouse is here again. He keeps stopping and looking up at me. He's wondering if he should run away, whether I'm friend or foe. We slicklick corin timorous beastie. I don't know what half the words mean, but I still know the poem. Back at school, Miss McAllister made us stand up and recite it on Burns Day. She said it was good for us to have at least one great Scottish poem in our heads forever. This wee beastie is timorous, all right, but he's not Scottish. He's a Belgian mouse. I recite the poem to him all the same. He seems to understand, because he listens politely. I do it in Miss McAllister's Scottish accent. I'm almost word perfect. I think Miss McAllister would have been proud of me. But the moment I finish, he's gone, and I'm alone once more. Earlier they came and asked if I wanted someone to stay with me through the night, and I said no. I even sent the padre away. They asked if there was anything I wanted, anything they could do to help, and I said there was nothing. Now I long to have them all here, the padre too. We could have had sing-songs. They could have bought me egg and chips. We could have drunk ourselves silly, and I could be numb with it by now. But all I've had for company is a mouse, a vanishing Belgian mouse. The next time they sent us up into the line, it wasn't back to our quiet sector. It was into Wipers salient itself. For months now, Fritz had been pounding away at Wipers, trying everything he could to batter it into submission. Time and again, he'd almost broken through into the town, and only been driven back at the last moment. But the salient around town was shrinking all the time. From the talk in the Estaminet and Pop, and from the almost constant bombardment a few miles to the east of us, we all knew how bad it must be in there. Everyone knew they had us surrounded and overlooked on three sides, so that they could chuck all they wanted into our trenches, and there was nothing much we could do about it, except grin and bear it. Our new company commander, Lieutenant Buckland, told us how things were, how if we gave way, then Wipers would be lost, and the Wipers must not be lost. He didn't say why it mustn't be lost, but then he wasn't Wilkie. We all felt the loss of Wilkie very keenly. Without him, we were like a sheep without a shepherd. Lieutenant Buckland was doing his best. He was straight out from England. He might have been very properly spoken, but he knew even less about fighting this war than we did. Nipper said he was just a young pipsqueak and that he belonged back at school. And it was true. He seemed younger than any of us, even me. As we marched through Wipers that evening, I wondered why it was worth fighting for at all. As far as I could see, there was no town left. Nothing you could call a town anyway. Rubble and ruin, that's all the place was. More dogs and cats than townspeople. We saw two horses lying dead and mangled in the street as we passed by what was left of the town hall. And everywhere there were soldiers and guns and ambulances on the move and hurrying. They were not shelling the town as we came through, but I was as terrified then as I ever had been. I could not get those horses and their terrible wounds out of my head. The sight of them haunted me, haunted all of us, I think. None of us sang. None of us talked. I longed only to reach the sanctuary of our new trenches, to crawl into the deepest dugout I could find and hide. But when we got there, the trenches were a bitter disappointment to us. Wilkie would have been appalled at the state of them. In places they were little more than shallow, dilapidated ditches, affording us precious little protection, and the mud here was even deeper than before. There was a sickly sweet stench about the place that had to be more than stagnant mud and water. We all knew well enough what it was. We all did, but no one dared speak of it. Word came back that from now on we should keep our heads down, because here was where we could most easily be spotted by their snipers. But there was at least some consolation when we reached the dugout. It was the best we'd ever had, deep and warm and dry. I could not sleep, though. I lay there that night knowing how a hunted fox must feel, lying low in his lair with hounds waiting for him outside. I'm on stand 2 the next morning, locked inside my gas mask in a world of my own, listening to myself breathing. The mist rises over no man's land. I see it in front of me, a blasted wasteland. No vestige of fields or trees here, not a blade of grass, simply a land of mud and craters. I see unnatural humps scattered over there beyond our wire. They are the unburied, some in field grey uniforms and some in khaki. There is one lying in the wire with his arms stretched heavenwards, his hand pointing. He is one of ours, or was. I look up where he is pointing. There are birds up there, and they are singing. I see a beady-eyed blackbird singing to the world from his barbed wire perch. He has no tree to sing from. The pipsqueak of a lieutenant says, "Keep your eyes peeled, lads. Keep your wits about you." He's always doing that, always telling us to do things we're already doing. But nothing moves out there in no man's land but the crows. It's a dead man's land. We're back down in the dugout after stand 2, brewing up when the bombardment starts. It doesn't stop for 2 whole days. They're the longest 2 days of my life. I cower there, we all do, each of us alone in our own private misery. We cannot talk for the din. There can be little sleep. When I do sleep, I see the hand pointing skywards, and it is father's hand, and I wake shaking. Nipper Martin has got the shakes too, and Pete tries to calm him, but he can't. I cry like a baby sometimes, and not even Charlie can comfort me. We want nothing more than for it to stop, for the earth to be still again, for there to be quiet. I know that when it's over, they'll be coming for us. That I'll have to be ready for them, for the gas maybe, or the flamethrower, or the grenades, or the bayonets. But I don't mind how they come. Let them come. I just want this to stop. I just want it to be over. When at last it does, we are ordered out onto the fire step, gas masks on, bayonets fixed, eyes straining through the smoke that drifts across in front of us. Then out of the smoke we see them come. Their bayonets glinting, 1 or 2 at first, but then hundreds, thousands. Charlie's there beside me. "You'll be all right, Tomo," he says. "You'll be fine." He knows my thoughts. He sees my terror. He knows I want to run. Just do what I do, right? And stay by me. I stay and I do not run, only because of Charlie. The firing starts all along the line. Machine guns and rifle fire, shelling, and I'm firing too. I'm not aiming, just firing. Firing, loading, and firing again, and still they do not stop. For a few moments, it seems as if the bullets do not touch them. They come on towards us unscathed, an army of invisible grey ghosts. Only when they begin to crumple and cry out and fall do I begin to believe they are mortal. They are brave too. They do not falter. No matter how many are cut down, those that are left keep coming. I can see their wild eyes as they reach our wire. It is the wire that stops them. Somehow enough of it has survived the bombardment. Only a few of them find the gaps, and they are shot down before they ever reach our trenches. Those that are left, and there are not many now, have turned and are stumbling back, some throwing away their rifles. I feel a surge of triumph welling inside me, not because we have won, but because I have stood with the others. I have not run. "You ain't a coward, are you?" "No, old woman, I am not. I am not." Then the whistle goes, and I am up with the others, and after them. We pour through the gap in the wire. They lie here so thick on the ground it's hard not to step on them. I have no pity for them, but no hatred either. They came to kill us, and we killed them. I look up. They are running from us as we go forward. We fire at will now, picking them off. We are across no man's land before we know it. We find a way through their wire and leap down into their front line trenches. I'm a hunter seeking out my quarry. A quarry I will kill, but my quarry is gone. The trench is deserted. Lieutenant Buckland is up on the parapet above us, screaming at us to follow him, that we've got them on the run. I follow. We all follow. He's not so much of a pipsqueak as we thought. Everywhere I look, to my right, to my left, as far as I can see, we are advancing, and I am part of it, and I feel suddenly exhilarated. But in front of us, the enemy seems to have vanished. I am unsure what to do now. I look all around for Charlie and cannot see him anywhere. That's when the first shell comes screaming over. I throw myself down, flatten myself into the mud as it explodes close behind me, deafening me instantly. After a while, I force myself to lift my head and look. Ahead of me, I see us advancing still, and everywhere in front of us the flash of rifle fire, the spitting flame of machine guns. For a moment, I think I am dead already. All is soundless, all is unreal. A silent storm of shelling rages about me. Before my eyes, we are scythed down, blown apart, obliterated. I see men crying out, but I hear nothing. It is as if I am not there, as if this horror cannot touch me. They are stumbling back towards me now. I can't see Charlie among them. The lieutenant grabs me and hauls me to my feet. He's shouting at me, then turning me and pushing me back towards our trenches. I am trying to run with the others, trying to keep with them, but my legs are leaden and will not let me run. The lieutenant stays with me, urging me on, urging us all on. He's a good man. He's right there alongside me when he's hit.